Putrajaya has received notification from Adil Permata in regard to its White Knight to take over the company and its 3.7 billion ringgit rapid transit system link project connecting Bukit Chaga in Johor Bahru to Woodlands in Singapore. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong reiterates that the contract awarded to Adil Permata for the RTS Link project remains. When asked if businessman Tan Sri Lim Kang Hu would take over the company and the project, Wee says that while he is not aware who exactly is in the company, the most important thing is that if it is a public listed company, it would be their duty to announce. Wee also explains that the bilateral agreement signed with his neighbour will make sure that the implementation of the schedule needs to be adhered to and the project completed. He stresses that the most important thing is ensuring the deadline to complete the RTS link to Singapore by December 31st, 2026 and to operationalise the RTS link by January 1st, 2027 can be achieved. It was reported in The Edge that Lim is understood to be looking to take over Adil Permata. Adil Permata is privately owned by Cipta Alam, which is in turn a 100% unit of Elite Intan, which is 40% controlled by Datin Paduka Alina Ahmad, the former mayor of Petaling Jaya. In response to The Edge, Ecovest had on May 30th confirmed that it is currently in ongoing discussions with relevant parties to explore a potential takeover of the RTS Link project. Lim has a 30.8% stake in Ecovest. Sapura Energy returned to the black in the first quarter of FY23, posting a net profit of 91.93 million compared with a net loss of 97.1 million recorded last year, thanks to foreign exchange gains as the US dollar appreciated versus the ringgit. It was also a vast improvement from the preceding quarter, where the troubled oil and gas player had posted its biggest ever net loss of 6.78 billion ringgit. However, quarterly revenue declined by 40% year-on-year to 886.1 million from 1.47 billion previously due to lower project activities from its engineering and procurement segment. Meanwhile, the group says that it is continuing to improve its project execution with greater discipline and continue to be selective in its bids by focusing on its preferred regions, namely Asia Pacific and the Atlantic, and also shifting the balance of its projects portfolio towards transportation and installation. Group CEO Datuk Anwar Taib says the group is seeing the first green shoots of recovery following the implementation of its reset plan. However, he warns that Sapura still has significant hurdles to overcome before it can sustain this encouraging momentum. Anwar Taib says that delivering its reset plan becomes more important than ever as it is the group's route to a stable platform, enabling it to exit the PN17 status and grow in the near future. To date, Sapura has secured 2.5 billion ringgit worth of contract wins, bringing its latest outstanding order book to 8.3 billion ringgit. S&P Global Ratings has revised upward its rating outlook on Malaysia's long-term sovereign credit ratings to stable from negative, reflecting its expectation that the country's steady growth momentum and strong external position will remain in place for the next 2 years. At the same time, it anticipates that the policy-making environment will be supportive of restoring fiscal settings to a firmer footing. While S&P notes that budget deficits remain high, it expects growth dynamics to offset vulnerabilities associated with its weak fiscal settings. At the same time, it affirmed its A- long-term and A-2 short-term foreign currency sovereign credit ratings on Malaysia, as well as its A long-term and A-1 short-term local currency ratings in the country. On GDP, S&P is projecting a strong pickup in Malaysia's GDP growth to hit 6.1% for 2022, and that the strong growth momentum will persist in the second half as Malaysia is a net energy exporter and major producer of crude palm oil. S&P also notes that while there remains political fluidity, uncertainties regarding policy making have somewhat subsided. AirAsia X on Monday announced the resignation of Tan Sri Rafida Aziz as its chairman effective July 1st. In a boss filing, AAX said she was stepping down as she would soon have served the term allowed as an independent director. She would then need to comply with the change of status from independent board member to non-independent director and the other ensuing requirements. Rafida was the country's longest-serving Minister of International Trade and Industry, having served in that capacity for 21 years from 1987 to 2008. According to AAX's 2021 annual report, Rafida was appointed as independent non-executive director and chairman of the board on March 31st, 2011 and redesignated as a senior independent non-executive chairman upon listing of the company on July 10th, 2013. It was also outlined in the annual report that Rafida was paid a total of 401,500 ringgit, which comprised 382,500 in fees and 19,000 in allowance based on the remuneration details of the directors for the financial period ended June 30th, 2021. In a separate filing, AAX announced the appointment of Tunku Mahmud Fauzi Tunku Muhyiddin as independent and non-executive director effective immediately. He is currently an independent director for AIA General, Hong Leong Asset Management and Deutsche Bank Malaysia. Assistance channeled under the Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia is the largest direct cash assistance in the country's history, compared with Bantuan Rakyat Wan Malaysia and Bantuan Sara Hidup, says Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz. In a statement, Zafrul said, as announced by the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob recently, BKM Phase 2 had been improved with additional cash assistance worth 630 million ringgit, bringing the total allocation of BKM to 8 billion ringgit, Bernama reports. He said that in comparison, the maximum BKM rate is 2,600 ringgit compared with BRIM and BSH, an increase of 120% since the Direct Cash Assistance Initiative was first introduced. Zafrul says this increase is due to the eligibility limit to receive BKM having been increased from 4,000 or less per month to 5,000 or less per month. He says the number of BKM recipients was 8.6 million compared with BSH's 4.5 million recipients. This means more Malaysian families are eligible to receive assistance, including part of the middle 40% income group and not limited to the bottom 40% only. He says the assistance now benefits 12.6 million individuals, which is equivalent to 60% of adults in Malaysia. He adds that his ministry would continue to monitor external factors that could hurt the domestic economic situation to ensure the cost of living of the people remains under control. To recap, on June 22nd, the PM announced additional cash assistance under BKM of 100 ringgit for households and 50 ringgit for single individuals after government took into account the cost of living challenges and the recent increase in food prices. Apart from that, Zafrul says BKM Phase 2 will benefit 4 million households, 1.2 million senior citizens and 3.4 million single individuals.